I want to invite to the stage three other people who are going to give brief remarks. That would be John Adams, the founder of NRDC back in a few years ago, 1970, who I think first hired Francis. And I'm going to have Carol Browner, who's the chair of our board, who you heard from earlier, who's worked with Francis for many, many years in several different roles. And finally, Tom Steyer, who is the leader of NextGen Climate Action and a big supporter, and we partnered in so many political races this cycle and has actually known Francis for many, many years as well. So let's ask John and Carol and Tom to come to the stage for some very brief remarks. And Francis, you'll get to have the last word, so be ready. Mr. Adams.
Well, Gene, you've made the League of Conservation Voters a powerhouse. Congratulations. And it's great to be here tonight. It's great to be here tonight to celebrate LCV and honor Francis. Soon after I started NRDC in 1970, I hired Francis as an intern. It's one of the smartest things I ever did. She came out of the starting gate at full speed. She was determined, she was fearless, and she was fun. Most of the NRDC staffers back then were litigators, and these attorneys hammered Francis with questions about legal matters so they could take things to court. But Francis, in her own way, had her own way of doing things, and she just plowed ahead with the work that had to be done. For instance, she and Sarah Chasis, one of our great colleagues, got a meeting with then Secretary of the Interior Cecil Andrus and persuaded him to block off offshore drilling in the Atlantic. Protecting the North Atlantic is no small feat, especially for someone who had not yet reached the age of 30. When Francis became NRDC's executive director, she steered the organization through rapid growth and great success. Through it all, the NRDC staff has loved her for her warmth and support. They know she always has their back. When it came time for me to retire as NRDC's president in 2005, I sat down with the board and said, Francis was born for this job. She's a natural leader, and she will guide NRDC into the future. And so she has. Francis has helped this organization become stronger and more diverse, and she's taken NRDC's climate and energy programs to new heights. She's earned a seat at the most influential tables in America. And when she speaks, as has been said, people listen. Future generations will view this time as a turning point, the time when America finally got serious about fighting about climate change. So, Paul Elston, wherever you are, and your children, all three of your wonderful daughters, we want to thank them because you let her play this essential role in making the NRDC able to play this climate role. So thank you very much.
It is really nice to get to stand here with all of these great men. But as a woman, it is really even better to get to honor an awesome woman. Frances has been called a lot of things in her life and career: an environmentalist, an advocate, a reformer, an author, and probably some things I can't repeat in some boardrooms across the country. But when I think of Frances, what I think of is game changer. You totally changed the game. Our air is safer, our water is cleaner because of your work, your dedication, your commitment. You are an amazing, strong leader, and you always do it with poise and patience. Now, when I was in the White House serving President Obama, you'd get this phone call. Frances is on the phone. She needs to talk to you. She wants to remind you what she and NRDC are thinking, you should read what you should now be doing if you're in the government. But she wants to remind you, she never yells at you. She never threatens you. She very thoughtfully and forcefully persuades you. You have spent a lifetime being at the forefront of important issues, and you have helped shape the most important environmental debate we face in our country and around the world, the debate on climate change. And I thank you for that. It has been an honor to work with you, to learn from you, and most importantly, to call you a friend. Thank you.
So, Frances, of course, is a big hero of mine, and for a whole bunch of reasons that people have talked about, but partially because she is my idea of a great New Yorker. And they didn't get me up here. We've had 2 senators, Secretary of State, head of the EPA, presidential chief of staff, and her first boss and mentor up here saying what a great job that Frances Beinecke has done. And I know that she has done a great job. Let's stipulate she's done a better job for longer with more impact than anyone could have ever guessed or hoped. And it is, I thought she was my hero before, but now I know she's my hero. But they didn't get me up here to find more superlatives from Roger's book, Roger's Thesaurus. I am up here to ask her a question as one native New Yorker to another, and native New Yorkers don't have to be polite, and Frances is a very tough lady, so here it is. What are you going to do for us going forward? Because I'm listening to this, and Frances has done amazing things, and Frances has behaved incredibly well. But she hasn't lost any of her intelligence. She hasn't lost any of her moxie. Her father had a 100th birthday party this summer, which I understand went deep into the night. So I am expecting from Frances Beinecke that the best is yet to come. And I want to have a toast to our gallant honoree. May her future successes be even grander than her past successes, and may she do them all with the understated style and grace which characterizes everything she does. Here's to Frances Beinecke. Hear, hear.
Frances, will you join us on the stage? And we're going to present you with our traditional environmental globe as a little bookmark that you'll use. But just as importantly, a special print that we found, because Frances spends, if you can't find Frances in August, because she's in the Adirondacks, cell phone sketchy, I'm sure Dan knows that, hard to reach sometimes, but she's enjoying life and appreciating the nature. So you both have your great globe, but also a great print of your lovely Adirondacks. So thank you very much, Frances.
So thank you, all of you, for those incredible words. As you can tell, I have a cold. I both have a cold and have lost my voice, but I'm also overwhelmed by this honor. When I look out and see all of you, this honor to me is a reflection of the community that we're all part of. And I know that every single person in this room plays the role to ensure that we win on our issues. So please accept this on behalf of all of us. I want to thank Jean and Carol and LCV for being the political powerhouse that they are, because for us to win on these issues, to win on climate change, we have to have much stronger political muscle. To hear the agenda of the next 6 years, which Secretary Clinton laid out so beautifully for us, and that I know she will help us accomplish. To hear Senator Whitehouse tell us what is required to win on climate change. We all know this is the most urgent issue of our time. We are making progress. Step by step, we have fuel efficiency standards. We have the carbon pollution standards that every single person in this room is working on. Today, a total of 8 million messages was sent to ensure that we succeed on the carbon pollution standards. But we're facing the toughest Congress coming in 2015 that we've faced in a long time. So there is no moment to pause, but only to deepen our resolve. And I know that everybody in this room has that resolve. And as I complete my presidency at NRDC, and as Tom says, go on into the future, my resolve to win on this fight is never stronger than it is now. And I know that we will all join together in ensuring that we get the policies in place, that ultimately we get the legislation in place, that we ensure that this planet that we depend on and our natural resources are protected for our children and their children who are coming along. And it is really, it's been a huge privilege for me to lead NRDC following in John's footsteps. John not only hired me in 1973, he introduced me to my husband, Paul, and I have so much to be grateful to him for. When I became president of NRDC in January 1, 2006, Paul said to me, "You need a political strategy. NRDC has the policy, you need the political strategy." And it's that strategy, working with LCV, with Gene, creating Leading Green, really strengthening the political voice of our movement, because we've got the policies, but if we don't have the politics and we don't have the people with us, we can't win. So this is something I know we will all do together. And I turn the leadership of NRDC over to Rhea Sue, who is going to be a strong colleague to all of you. And I know with Rhea, with all of you, our movement has a very bright future, but it's a future where we have to win because the issues, the future of the planet depends on it. So thank you for this honor. Thank you for all you do. And thank you for the work that we'll do together in the future.